Hey everyone, welcome to this week's recap of Survivor.
Well, everybody was really confused after Alec was voted out last week.
Well, not everyone.
Did Alec vote for himself?
Really, Jacqueline? You really think Alec voted for himself? I know he's always sitting there at Tribal like...
He really is.
But no, he did not vote himself out.
Natalie was like, I didn't have enough time.
She's like, I didn't know who to vote for. What?
And they bought it.
They bought it. That's insane.
Why would you buy that?
Well, anyway, Natalie's like, okay, my plan is in place. I need to talk to Keith. So she's like, it's us two with Missy and Baylor. We're taking out the J team.
I'm thinking there's no way that Missy's going to go for this.
It's a stretch, but we'll see.
Her head is so far up John's that what's going to happen?
Right.
It's time for the reward challenge. And it's 2 teams of 3. Hey, you guys are stuck together.
Or tied together.
And
they have to run through this obstacle course. They got this water, and they got teeter-totters and all this stuff. And in the end, they have to put together this slot...
Plank puzzle.
Called? A plank puzzle.
All right, the reward, you ask?
It's very special.
It is a spa day. It's not just a shower.
We're talking about showers. We're talking about massages. And
steak,
spa food.
And brownies.
I didn't know that there was a division of food called spa food.
Spa food is like delicious, beautiful food.
Okay. I'm pretty sure
brownies are delicious and beautiful.
Anything would be delicious to these people right now.
That's true. So it's got a...
Spa food.
Yeah.
So the 2 teams. On one side we have Keith, Missy, and John. And on the other side, Baylor, Jacqueline, and Natalie.
All right, so they were pretty close in the beginning.
The girls were actually like way ahead.
Well, until they were close until Missy hit her head. And then twisted her ankle.
Oh, it was one
things went down
disaster after another.
Yeah. But the girls, like Maddie said, were way ahead until it got to the puzzle. They were having some real problems with the puzzle. Mm-hmm. They built it over too far, and then they had to slide it over.
There was a border, and it was just a big thing. But the other team, huge comeback.
Oh, huge!
Keith, Missy, and John managed to pull out that win.
They practically had Missy like a baby on a stick.
Yeah, they were like dragging her around, but I gotta give her credit because she was like...
She didn't lose it.
I would have just fallen on the ground probably.
Yeah, so Keith, Missy, and John won the reward, but guess what? Jacqueline's pissed.
She's like, John, you're so annoying right now.
You know how people say that you have a resting bitch face? She's just a resting bitch. I'm sorry, she's always pissed.
Well, then John was like, who said I was gonna go?
And she was like...
Yeah, so then you think, like, he's gonna give her the reward, but then he's like, I'm gonna give my spot to Baylor.
What?
Whoa.
I was like, if my boyfriend did that...
Well, it was a strategic move, because he's trying to solidify that alliance. So then they had to pick somebody to go to exile, and Natalie volunteered. They sent her away.
Yeah.
So John and Jacqueline were alone at camp. Whoa.
I'm sure they didn't do anything.
I don't need to know.
All right. It's spa time.
Yay! So
Missy's baking bread in her shoe.
Seriously, that was scary. Oh, her ankle and her foot were so swollen.
It was disgusting. Ugh.
Well, there was some comic relief at this reward because Keith is hilarious.
Keith is such a gem. He really is. Don't tell the other old-time fireman that I got that extracurricular fingers on my back.
He was loving that massage.
Why not? Hey, you know, poor Keith, though. He looks so small and shrunken now.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know if that's a knot or just my bones.
Yeah.
All right, so back at camp, John and Jacqueline all alone, and John is just like, oh, I can't believe Natalie messed up. And Jacqueline's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure she did that on purpose.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, what? No.
Yeah. John really needs to buy a Clue because he is totally in his own little John world.
Well, at Exile, Natalie's very emotional.
Alone. Yeah, she misses her sister. This is the longest that she's ever been apart from her sister. It's been 30 days since she's seen her, and it's really tough.
Hang in there.
I mean, when you're one of a set, it's tough.
Okay, let's talk about this week's immunity challenge.
Missy shows up with a cane.
Basically.
And, it's not good.
Jeff is like, all right, before we even get to this challenge, I'm going to need medical to take a look at you. And
Right.
the guy comes in, and he's like, this is pretty effed up.
Yeah.
It might be broken.
Let's do an x-ray. But the bad news is that if you want an x-ray, you're out of the game.
Yeah, so she's like, oh my god, what am I going to do?
She goes into a little crying jag, and she's like, well, I don't have to leave the game, do I? Because I really don't want to.
He was basically like, you could, and you'd be smart, but there's only a few days left. You don't have to leave. So she decided...
You only need one leg.
She decided to stay, and they were just like, all right, let's immobilize the ankle. So they give her this little wrap thing. It kind of ends up looking like a sweater boot. You know how sweater boots are like really skinny? Mm-hmm. It looked kind of weird.
Well, I think there was a splint in there as well.
There was, yeah.
All right, so...
Well, she did not compete.
She sat out.
In this immunity challenge, because there was no way.
Well, when they called in Natalie from Exile Island, she came back and they handed her a little coconut full of rice, and she was crying her eyes out.
I don't blame her. I would have been crying too.
Yeah, she's kind of a wreck, but she managed to pull it together.
All right.
So this competition is an endurance one, as usual.
There have been a lot of endurance this season,
really have.
But I enjoy it.
All right, so you're on this contraption. Oh my god, it looks so weird.
It did. It was intense.
You're on a teeter-totter on blocks, holding a rope that's like on a pulley.
To help you balance on the teeter-totter.
Yeah.
But that had nothing to do...
No, just help balance.
Yeah.
So...
They had to hold up this vase, which was controlled by the teeter-totter.
Once the vase fell, you're out. And it was really, really, really windy. Yeah, it was crazy. It was like on cue, too.
For real.
So Jacqueline was out first.
Mm-hmm.
She was pissed.
Followed by Baylor. And then Keith.
Old-timey fireman. I can't believe it. I was so upset.
It came down to Natalie and John.
And Natalie
I felt like this was super symbolic.
Yeah, it was, because the wind kicked up, and the wind is what actually took John's vase.
Well, I meant that it was Natalie versus John. But yeah, the wind too. The wind too. So Natalie ended up winning this challenge.
It's like a higher power said, John, you're a douche.
All right, well, we'll see. Natalie is planning on blindsiding John. And she's talking to Keith. She's like, though, we need to split the votes because John does have that hidden immunity idol. So we need to, split the votes.
So Keith, you'll just keep your mouth shut and...
Are you Christopher Walken?
Yeah.
Okay, she's telling Keith, like, don't blow it because we know you have before. Just keep it together.
Just shut up, do what you're told, and surprisingly, or should I say not surprisingly, because somebody should buy these people a clue, Jacqueline is a little paranoid.
She knows what's up. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but...
Sort of.
Yeah. So she's like, well, yeah, John had it all figured. He sees the wind, so he visualizes it. He didn't visualize that almost when he got voted out, when Natalie had to tell him to use the hidden immunity idol.
Right.
How'd you like that?
It was right. So Baylor goes to tell Missy, hey, we're getting rid of John. We need you to vote this way. And Missy's just like,
no.
She can't vote out John. She made a promise to him. She can't do it.
Well, we'll see.
And Natalie comes in. She's just like, this needs to happen.
You're doing it, or I'm going to kick your crutches out. All right.
Let's talk about tribal council.
Keith says, use me. He's all alone.
Yeah.
He's the only one not in the 5.
Jacqueline and John sounding pretty darn confident at tribal.
We're not going anywhere.
Did you notice that jury was just like...
Yeah. They were like...
Okay. Natalie, Jeff was asking her, like, you're paired up with these two couples, like...
Don't you feel
what's the
vulnerable?
Deal? She's like, good thing I have immunity this week.
And then John says, yeah, I've been thinking about that final speech a lot. Really?
I don't think that was a good thing to say.
Really? All right, so...
Jeff was asking Missy about loyalty. She's like, I'm loyal to a fault. We know.
Time to vote.
Okay.
Holy cramoles. It was a 3-way tie. I was not expecting that at all.
Missy went through with the plan. So Keith, John, and Jacqueline each got 2 votes. John did not use his immunity idol.
He looked pretty surprised.
He did.
He looked pretty surprised.
All right, so since there was a 3-way tie, Baylor, Missy, and Natalie were the only ones re-voting.
Right. And I think John was probably thinking, oh, they're going to get rid of resting bitch. I'm in the clear.
Really?
No.
You really think that he thought that?
Yeah.
Wow.
I do. I do, because Missy and him...
Well, that's true.
You know?
Well, John was voted out. The tribe has spoken.
Bye, douche. I'm sorry. I did not like the way he played the game.
Of course not. Okay, so we're down to 5. Next week is the finale.
Already? That's so... It seemed to have gone pretty quickly.
Did it, though?
Yeah, I think so.
Just kidding.
It's a 2-hour finale with the 1-hour reunion.
Yay, it's going to be awesome.
Jacqueline's pissed, as you would expect.
And what's Missy going to do? She can barely move.
Just sit out of the rest of the stuff, I guess. I don't know. She's useless.
Well, let us know what you thought of this week's episode in the comments. Are you happy?
Who do you
sad,
want to win?
Or pissed that John is gone? And yeah, who do you want to win the whole thing?
Yeah. And until next time,
much love.
Edit.